If there's one thing that I really hate, it's the fact that photorealistic remakes exist. The remakes that you think it's live action and want you to call it as is, but it's actually not, like the 2019 Lion King. And as you've guessed by the title of this video, Disney sure hasn't learned their lessons at all, even though we've talked about this time and time again with the abhorrent Mufasa prequel film. I did talk about the potential of more Disney prequels in the past before, but this isn't what I want at all and looks even worse than the original 2019 film for some reason. And don't worry, I still will reserve judgment for the final product if Academy Award winning director Barry Jenkins can produce something unique with this, but I'm just very upset right now beyond all reason, even as a major Disney fan. This is just another damn animated movie, like Wikipedia even confirms, with it being the highest grossing non-adjusted for inflation, which you can clearly see by this entire trailer. Like, I really cannot believe how bad this one looks compared to the past, and the fact that Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing music for this film instead of stuff like Moana 2, even if that was a series converted into a movie and he didn't need to work on that project at all. Again, if any of you wanted a live action Lion King movie or animal movie of any type, then you would just watch a Disney nature documentary instead of the excuses these people are making for content. Don't get me wrong, people will still watch this for the pull of the Lion King, but like every other Disney sequel or prequel to a live action or photorealistic film of any type, the box office will definitely go down, because there is no pull for these particular films beyond the original that holds the most nostalgia factor towards it. Like, what is the point of you making this film this way instead of, making something like we've yearned for years, like the return to 2D? Have an actual 2D animated Disney prequel in their animated canon, which I'm sure would have been a surefire hit instead of this piece of crap. Like, why can't you do that? Why can't you aim for the right answer that most people are yearning for and would surely pay money to see again? A 2D Lion King animated film in theaters once again would be the biggest modern hit to grace the animated industry in the 21st century, no question, and one that many of us would just generally love. But then again, how they chose not to do this with the same static faces that the last film had, but looking much worse than what they were originally trying to go for. Like, you can see now in this trailer that they're trying to be more expressive, but it still is confined within that same style that has nothing great to offer other than being bland and the sake of showing what you can do in a computer. And of course, it's confirmed to have Donald Glover's Simba back, making this truly a sequel prequel film like The Godfather Part 2, if that made any sense to you at all, which I really think is stupid for Disney to do. The last time they probably did something like that was actually with one of their direct-to-DVD sequels, which of course isn't fair to compare to something like this with a higher production budget, but still how some of these live action films have surely disappointed, and they're surely a different style. Like, that film is a quality above what we would expect something like this would produce, where of course you have to highlight the fact that children are going to be watching this and they're the ones who question why do these animals look the way that they do, that they can actually easily accept the animation realm for what they are because it expresses an emotion that doesn't exist in real life, something that translates across human and of course non-human. Of course, one of the highlights with this trailer is that they're attempting to do more with those characters that have more movement, but at the cost of how it's really making it less believable to be a live action type of film when it's not, looking worse and more cartoonish and only checking the important boxes of a modern Disney film with celebrities, CGI, and music done by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, why the hell just not go ahead and remake Lion King 1.5 instead? That just seems like a better story to me than whatever this crap is, because it just makes more sense to do it. It's basically the Lion King, but just with Timon and Pumbaa's story instead. But again, maybe this can be a big success if the people behind it are great enough at seeing a story, but how they're just using the wrong type of animation to tell it. That my biggest disappointment with this again is with the refusal to go back to traditional animation, beyond all reason within an age like this with the tools for stories they have in the right place. I would just really love to have someone like Barry Jenkins direct an actual animated Lion King film, as that would be more unique on its own with what they're trying to go for, but then how they really need to have this instead. I personally also find this insulting that the fact that they're releasing this after The Lion King turns 30 this year, a big landmark for how many years since it's been since that film graced the screen and was the highest grossing animated film of the time, and of course still is traditionally, which I'm still working on a video to celebrate such a fantastic film that really is one of the best Disney films ever made, or best animated films ever made too. Its impact should still be noted and enjoyed around the world for such a powerfully simple story that connects all of us in the great circle of life. Like on any other occasion, we should be celebrating the fact that people do enjoy The Lion King for what it is, but how there comes the question of necessity for stories like this. Yes, there is the element for the people, especially me, that wants to see what happened to Mufasa and Scar in their youth, but why feel the need to tell it in this way other than money? What is the grand benefit to derive from this film when most times we see the characters in the parks and other media are not the ones of this version, the ones of the original traditional animation? Because I really do not remember anything great from Beyonce's version of Nala rather than Moira Kelly's, or vice versa from any other character, because we just don't see that. We just don't generally look back upon any live action version of the characters when regarding Disney, because that's not what we remember about them. Which, thinking about that part, is actually the best part of Disney itself, with the fact that we can catalog over 100 years of characters from animation and still celebrate them to this very day, that they live eternally in our hearts and minds because they are a reflection of the best of us and what we can do, and we can't connect to the best of us if it lacks any human emotion or expressions that they have that animation is able to tell, that they are timeless creatures because they are made a specific way and they don't need to connect to a certain time. Ones that we can really feel the love tonight because that's the impression the artist made rather than, someone who's detailing perfection like a machine would normally do, looking at the numbers super fast like an AI would in this train of production like this film is trying to make, expressionless and devoid of that other than the simple checkmark they are going for. This isn't going to go over well judging by the fast reactions to the trailer, and it's just frankly going to get worse, but like I said time and time again, this won't be the end for anything Disney has planned. I've talked about their downfall many times, but this is only their creative slump. The people who are behind this, at least some, are very talented in my eyes and can use this for the better, where I still trust those very passionate people who do work for the company day in and day out. But until these executives learn their lesson and replace with something new, we will constantly have to deal with these things that weren't asked for in the worst possible way. The wrong lessons that have to be learned to understand that there is something good to be shown, but how it's refused time and time again to actually be produced. And because it's early, I cannot really express anything else in this short video to know my thoughts about these things, only minding what they could do with this, but just taking the wrong criticisms to heart and continue to do something they think can make them money in theaters that still is beyond the stints that they have been really making now, with year after year in this current year being nothing but sequels produced by the main studio. And what I really want you to take away from this is to prove us wrong, to prove us something like this can be great to continue with a good story, because the past has told me that's not the case. So I can believe in something that this form is actually good for storytelling rather than 2D as the sensible choice for a movie. The best choice that can reignite a dwindled passion out of modern Disney, where not everyone will agree with what we like about it now, either loving or hating what it has become, as time has always proven, and how I want to be a part of that legacy to be better. That this is always my passion. So with that said, please just give us 2D animation.